I also take this opportunity to congratulate all the young graduates, the most fortunate ones, the one in the history of this nation, which I'll tell you why. That why you are the most fortunate generation of in last 1,000 years of India's history. And once again, I'm also grateful to the director who invited me here. Gentlemen, firstly, you should all be very proud that you belong to an institution of which tomorrow you will be the alma mater, the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, which has produced 48,000 graduates like you who have served the nation and has made a great name for themselves and for the country. What we have achieved is great. You have proven intelligence, dexterity, commitment, by which you have been able to achieve, which very few in this country aspire and are able to achieve it as a reality. You also have got a great future ahead. There is no doubt about it. The world is before you to succeed. The point is whether you will be able to intertwine your growth and progress with something beyond you. Will you be able to contribute to the society, to the country, to the civilization to which you owe a lot? When Director Kamakoti asked me to be here, obviously I was quite reluctant. I never make public appearances. As Dr. Goenka just told me before I entered here, he said it's the first time I'm seeing you anywhere in a public platform in last 7 years. I don't know when was it that it was the last 7 years. But normally I never go. But firstly, my respect for Professor Kamakoti is one thing. But secondly, I had a very small message to give you. And I thought that I will take this opportunity to convey a very small message. But before that, I will have to provide you a perspective. You belong to a country, to a civilization which has been beleaguered, bled, dishonored, this thing for 1,000 years. We have suffered a lot. Our ancestors have suffered. Our pitras, as we call them, I do not know how much of the humiliation, deprivations, hardships they have undergone to keep the civilization alive, to keep this notion of the nation alive. Nation is different from a state. India as a nation had existed for millenniums. It may be a new state. Even when we got independence in 1947, our GDP was barely $20 billion. Less than 1.9% of what it is today. We had 80% population below the poverty line. And do you know, just a few years, or 2-3 years before the independence came, we suffered a famine in Bengal. It's a pity that nobody talks about it in India today. Do you know, as per the British records, how many people died in that starvation death, due to starvation death? There were 6,060,000 people died. And there was nothing that was talked about it in the slave nation. That showed that the country's spirit had been enslaved to that extent that it became a non-event. Today, if there are 5 such deaths, the whole country will rise. The youth will say, you will find governments will fall. Deaths due to starvation because you could not eat. And therefore 160 lakh people died as per the records. That is the thing that we came, and as Dr. Goenka said, we will be completing 100 years of our independence 22 years from now. You will be at the prime of your careers. You will be in your mid-40s or late 40s. You would have experience. You will have the knowledge. You would also have the personal stability, financial stability, family stability, social stability by that time. And still you will have many decades to contribute and work. What will be that India like? Let us visualize. Dr. Goenka said we'll have a GDP of 32 trillion as against probably 4.1 today. About 8 times of the present one. Our per capita income will be about $22,000 per head, per person, from 2,500 now. We will have working population of 1.1 billion people, highest in the world, which will be better educated, which will be highly skilled, which will be globally interconnected, and will also have the largest technical pool. In contrast, China will have a squeezed 700 million, at 23% less than what it is today. We will have the world's largest military force. At present, 1.9% of GDP of 4.1 trillion, we have got a budget of $77 billion. It's a 32 trillion economy, and even if we spend only a substantially low percentage of 1.9% of our GDP, we will have a defense budget of 700 crores. We will be world's one of the biggest global market because we will have a burgeoning middle class. And as having a unique geopolitical situation, demography, soft power, international connectivity, and the civilizational strength and the spiritual strength that Dr. Padma Subramanianji just told us and enlightened us about. You will be a tremendous power. Do you think so? Well, I think so. But there is an X factor. And that X factor is going to make a difference, and I have come to tell you only about that. Whether it is in defense, whether it is in manufacturing, whether it is in our socio-economic development, whether it is in any field, there is one factor that is going to make the difference, and that is you. Both as individually and collectively. Next 22 years, what you do and what you contribute, with what mindset and with what passion you live the life, that will determine what will happen to this nation. This is technology. If we have the technology, if we can surpass the technology, if we can meet the challenge of technology, if we have the technology warriors, we will be able to achieve not this, but much beyond it. But if we fail here, you miss it for many centuries to come. In the last 1,000 years, such a time has not come, and this is the generation who has got the time, and the challenge is yours. If you master it, countries' technological needs are going to be vast in every field. In every walk of life. We want it. But there are some critical areas. There are critical and emerging technologies that we'll have to probably look at with much greater, where we'll have to get much greater focus. It is important because our needs are multiple and diverse. But every nation has got some core needs. And first need is its survival. You can have everything in the world. That will mean nothing if you don't survive. And we are in the business of saying that even if I perish, the country survives. If you become the technology warriors, you may perish, your technology must survive, the nation may survive. The debt that we owe to our ancestors, we are able to avenge our history. Indeed, we need an ecosystem of technology, high resources, infrastructure. But what we need most are the men like you. You must have heard many stories. There was a young scientist in Cambridge, young boy. In the Second World War, do you know who changed the history of the Second World War? You know him by the name of the man who started, father of computing. His name was Alan Turing. He found he could break the Enigma machine's code. And thereafter, all the U-boats and all the communications of the German army were intercepted, and the entire shape of the battle from 1943, from the late 42, actually it started. He died young at the age of 44. Very few of you know that he was a spy. He was an intelligence man working for the MI6. And he was inserted in this task of breaking the German code. But it required a person with great technical genius and he changed it. We need many Alan Turings today to guide, protect, and take this country ahead. You know, something happened in 2020. It was slightly a bad experience for us. We had we had a little fight. Of course, ultimately we were able to get everything, But certain decisions were taken. And one of the decisions that was taken is we are going to completely indigenize our communication systems, and 5G will not be imported from anywhere. It is necessary for our data protection, it is necessary for our communications, it was necessary for many security needs. At the same time, the country could not afford to lose the technology battle and remain behind and get decades behind. Chinese had taken over 22 years and spent about $300 billion for developing the 5G. We neither had that much of a time. I'm sorry, Chinese took about 12 years, not 22 years, 12 years. We neither had that sort of a time, nor even that sort of a money. Whom did we turn to? And that is why I said I owe a lot to Professor Kamakoti. We came and we talked with him. We wanted trusted sources. We wanted the system along with the private sector to work out. And within about 2.5 years, India was totally indigenous. And today's 5G, there's nothing foreign in that. And we owe it to your age. We owe it to our private sector, we owe it to others. All contributed a lot. Today, it ensures, Professor Kamakoti has put a system in place that with a screw that comes, that deals with anything which has got or which leads to the nation's security protection of the data protection or the anything that is, it comes from a trusted source. It's either made in India or it is something which is made by somebody who is very close to India. It comes from a trusted source. That concept was the same when he said, how do we make our system totally insulated from any enemy influence and others? And we said that we will work for that. It looks small, but it is big. It is something that you have done a lot for doing that. Now, I was talking about that what could be the systems that would be important for us, which will be the game changers. You all know it, but I would like to emphasize it. Artificial intelligence is one of the great game changers. It took roughly 4.5 million years for a man to discover, invent fire, which was one transformative technology. Fire changed the whole concept of the world, the way the man lived. Another 2 lakh years, this thing, the wheel. And then many such things came which we call as this thing, which take a shorter time, and others, your steam engine, printing press, computers and others. The rate at which it was changing, the world was changing. Artificial intelligence is going to change the world every year at that rate. It will become unrecognizable from everything that we do today. Is probably changed, and its applications will be diverse. It's not only required for your research and development, for machine learning, for large language models, for defense, robotics, medical, finance, anywhere. If India is able to lead and develop, make it a focus point, that this is one area that we have to develop. Another is about quantum, the quantum computing and its all applications. Utilizing the principles of superpositioning and entanglement, it can make tremendous difference in what we can achieve. It is going to make the classical computing much less relevant. This thing of the photons and others that we are talking about, actually the theory of particles are going to undergo a whole change. The way that from distances and others probably will make this thing, the conventional thinking of this thing, that how particles will behave and this thing probably will be much more unpredictable. So in the computing, in communications, and material sciences, and drug discoveries, probably you will find that this whole new world opens. Semiconductors, now that is the building blocks of the modern technology. Our chips with complex electronic circuits are going to provide us a lot of these things, whether from the automobiles or from the children's toys to the satellites to the robotics to anything. Most of it for our defenses, for our missiles, for our aircrafts, for our battle tanks, for various types of the things that probably the chips are going to be great. And then the space sciences, and I must compliment here Dr. Goenka, who has contributed tremendously in last 3 years in the new whole district that is opened up for the space sector for the private sector, and we are doing very well in that. Whether it's in communications, it's in navigations, it's in satellite surveillance, geological mapping, rare earths and advanced materials, energy, etc. Other this thing. Now, the link of the technology and warfare has been always very, very important. The caveman from his stove, a sling with a stone, to the today's contactless warfare and the unmanned systems has been a long journey. Do you know one of the biggest empires which ruled for 2,500 years? One of the most important reasons why it was defeated and was finished by the northeastern tribes of Europe, the Germanians, and later the Byzantines by the Turks. because the Romans were good horse riders, but never used stirrups. Now stirrups are the iron this thing on which you stand. Whereas from the Genghis Khan time, from the Mongolian this thing, these tribals had known that on their horses and their ponies, they could stand in the stirrups. So you can play with the sword. Standing there, you can throw a spear with that. Whereas on the horse, where you are sitting on a blanket on top of it, you can only tumble down. If anybody wants. Roman Empire got finished. It's a technology. Mughals brought here the Hemu's army and others, which was much more powerful than of the Babur and others. It was the bazookas, the gunpowder. The Mughals brought the gunpowder. And the Indian elephants started reversing their direction and stepping over their own troops. It is the technology. We have to develop our indigenous technology. Mention was made here of Sindoor. We are really proud of it, not for necessarily what people perceive. That how much of an indigenous content was there. We are proud of it, that some of the best systems that worked, whether it was our Brahmos systems, whether it was our integrated air control and command systems, whether it was our radars, whether it was the whole this of it that was being done at the battlefield surveillance about the position out there. We decided to have 9 terrorist targets in the crisscross of Pakistan. It was not only border area something, which we thought were there this way. We missed none. We hit nowhere else except that. And it is also not that was a very, it was precise to the point where we knew who is where. Entire operation was started at 5 minutes past 1 and was over at 28 minutes past 1. 23 minutes. Thereafter, a lot of things are said that this thing, foreign press and all these things, they said Pakistan did that and this. You tell me one photograph, one imagery. In, these days, these imageries are from the satellites all over the world. They are this thing. Which shows any Indian damage being done, even a glass pane having been torn. I don't know, only our forces will be knowing what's happening in this thing, but I am just telling, they brought out photographs, they wrote this thing, the New York Times, put out this thing. Only imageries, they said 13 air bases of Pakistan now and now, before 10th May and after 10th May. Whether it was in Sargoda or it was in Rahim Yar Khan or it was in Chaklala or it was in Rawalpindi, any of the places that there are 13 important air bases, including the Bellary where they have got the AVAX, the control systems. Now, I'm not telling any of this thing. I'm only telling what the foreign media, on the basis of the imageries, have put the images in it. So we were able to achieve it. We are capable of doing that. So the country's challenges before the country, as I said, are very great. We are I will tell you one small incident. There was one gentleman who wanted to meet me, but because of my office could not give him any time. So I got a friend in US, General McMaster. He wrote to me this thing and others that he was a wonderful army general. He said that there is a person I want to send to you, you must meet him. I said, okay, send him sometime. So he came, he told me. I said, how do you know General McMaster? He said, I provide some services to the American Defense Forces. I said, what's your background? And then he told me something about his this thing. when I learned that he was the person who was the founder and CEO of Brahmos. He was providing on the basis, he started it, on the basis of the open information about the position of the satellites and what they were taking the imageries and some of these things, the entire forecasting model for next 24 hours for Pakistan, for American Army. Then the American Army started supplementing it with their own data. And he became extremely this thing, and this Brahmos Corporation became one of the very, very powerful organizations with very high technology, using AI, using particles, these things, and multiple of other technologies and others. Then I asked him, I said, okay, this is very good. I'm impressed with what you said. We checked it up with these things also. We found tremendous distribution. His predictions are 70% right about anything relating to defense and military activities taking place anywhere in the world. He said, sir, I've come to you, I carry a sense of guilt. I said, why? He said, you've done so well in life. He said, sir, I've done so much for the Americans this thing. I'm an IITian, but I could not do anything for my country. I want to do something for my country. But I said, we have got problems. You have taken American citizenship. And therefore, we can't integrate you with the system. He said, don't bother. You don't give any data. I will work on the basis of the open data. And I will teach your people how to manage it. After I go, you integrate the data with your own people to find out this thing. We have started working with him. And he said, I don't want to do it for money. It's not for money. This is the spirit that I want each one of you to go. Will you have that passion for your nation? Is it something that you realize it a little too late? Or you realize in 2025 that you have to take the country in 2047 where its destiny is, where it is destined to. Make it a proud country, a major power in military terms, in economic terms, in science and technology, in everything and every area of the human activity. If you can manage your time, you can manage your energy, and you can manage your mind and spirit, you can achieve it. And you are not the first. Many more have done it, but only today you have got the opportunity. I did not have the opportunity. I was not an IIT. Actually, when I just think the IITs were just started to come up. There were hardly this thing. We also did not have that much, and the country did not have that much of a money. Today the country has money to invest in science and technology. Next year it will be probably another 1 trillion added to our country's growth. Probably we are succeeding, we are going to become more this thing. Very few institutions today will say that they have got dearth of resources. Ecosystems are being built up, infrastructure is being built up, testing equipment and others will be available. If not, we will do it. Your alumni are a great asset. All over the world they are there and they have been contributing a lot. I must say that, well, their contribution has been fantastic. But will you be looking at it only as an opportunity? You will make the life comfortable for you. You will be able to go for more of holidays to Mediterranean and other climatic countries, this language. Have a happy family, lead a good life, have some citizenship of some country, and thereafter you can call that life successful. I will tell you one small incident before I conclude. During Second World War, in the concentration camps, there were many Jews who were kept there. One of them was a psychiatrist, and very from Austria, whom Hitler had this thing and others. When he started looking, and then he was shifted, He started feeling the people coming to concentration camps. Many of them were perishing, some in 3 months, some in 5 months, some 6 months. But this man, since he was this thing and there were certain things against him, he was kept for a very long time, almost the whole duration of the war, about 4.5 years, about 4 years. And was shifted from one concentration camp to another concentration camp of the Jews and others. He found hundreds of Jews, rather thousands of Jews dying. But even strangely, some survived. And he started taking notes. He said he writes. He wrote a book after coming out. There is an old lady of 74 or 75. She said, I don't know when the war will be over, but I have to go back home. He said, why? They said, they brought me and my son and my daughter-in-law. But my granddaughter, about 4 years is left behind. I have to go back to get her. And groom her, train her, whatever is that, bring her up and all these things. I feel very restless. I want the war to be over. She survived. Then, few years after the war, he met this old woman on the street with a teenager girl. He said, how are you? He said, fine. He said, this is my granddaughter. She found this old lady was now healthier, looking better than others. So he wrote a book, which became one of the best sellers. And also in psychology, it's one of the game-changing contribution. His name was Viktor Frankl. He said, the name of his book was, I think it was, whose life has a meaning, only they survive. You are useless when your life loses its meaning. You may be a billionaire or you may be a pauper, it doesn't matter. As long as there is a meaning, you will survive. You live to achieve something. If you have got nothing to achieve, if you have got nothing to, you can't pay this thing after the match is over. If there is no goal post, where is this thing of my skills? You give me a goal post. Even out of death I will come out. Your willpower, your spiritual power takes you out. This institution gives you the meaning. Your energy gives you the meaning. Your circumstances of this thing give you a meaning. This nation gives you this thing. If you dedicate yourself for next 22 years, say, this is the meaning of my life is, I will place my country in that orbit, that where we can really be proud and our sons and sisters can be proud. My dear friends, there is a very small message that I have come here with you. I am over 80, I have lived my life. But I know this country has got a very great future. But there is a spectre, and that is you. Do your best and give your best.